Hi, I'm Gayla. After 20 years of climbing the corporate ladder, I took the leap and started my own business to pursue my dream of creating a work-from-anywhere lifestyle. Having the freedom to work from practically anywhere is such a cool feeling. You're in the right place if you're looking for ideas and inspiration to start and grow your own online business. Every week in this podcast, you'll receive practical ideas, hints, tips, and tricks to help you grow your online business where you can leverage your time and you can accomplish more. You too can experience wonderful adventure and freedom as you live life on your own terms. Hi, and welcome to today's show. I am so glad you're here because I am pleased to bring back to the show Brandy Van Riessen. Brandy is the mother of 3 wonderful children, the wife of a college basketball coach, works as a virtual assistant for Scrivener Solutions, and is growing her very own online business. Well, I should say her very own online businesses. I introduced Brandy on episode 78 when she shared about creating her dream job. Now, although she's been on my team for over 3 years, I've only met Brandy face to face only once. But that had changed recently. Just a few weeks ago, Robert and I were going to an event that's fairly close to Brandy's neck of the woods. We ended up being house guests of the Van Riessen family, and we had a lovely weekend. Robert and I truly enjoyed having a snow day with the kids. And man, I found myself wanting to go to bed when the kids did. Their energy wore me out, and I loved it. I love kind of being there, I guess, surrogate grandma. I love it. And I am so stinking proud of Brandy. She recently started developing her own personal brand. And she's already been growing OliviaMayFurnishings.com. And that's her design website where she sells printables and apparel. And now she's launched BrandyVanRiessen.com. Now, at the end of our very full day of activities that you would do on a wonderful snow day, all cooped up in the house and playing in the yard, we decided to whip out the podcasting stuff and start recording our conversation. Now, Brandy's number one focus right now is managing her household and raising those beautiful children. And I love how she's also looking ahead. As her children grow, she's also laying the groundwork to building her own business. When all the kids are in school, she can move towards scaling those businesses however she'd like. She's creating her lifestyle that she can have on her own terms, and I love it. Now, when we started recording, Brandy and I were in her dining room, and the kids had just gone to bed, and we were actually worried that one of them would tiptoe in during our recording session. Well, let me tell you, the kids were angels. Our husbands, on the other hand, well, that's another story. We became terribly distracted as our husbands were having their own conversations in the very next room. Their voices had a way of carrying, and our minds were going in a lot of different directions. And if you listen very carefully, you'll hear them in the background. Yeah, we had to laugh, and instead of stressing about it, we just pressed on. Well, anyway, let's jump right into my and Brandy's snow day conversation. Hey, Brandy, can you believe that I'm here at your house?
I can't. It's really fun.
This is only the second time that we've actually seen each other in person. And you've been working for Scrivener Solutions how long? When did we decide?
3.5 years?
Yes. And the last time if Paxton wasn't even born yet.
No.
And met your 2 young ladies at a 20-minute lunch at Chick-fil-A.
It was, yep. And we were meeting as strangers. We talked on the phone just a few times at that point.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I brought you on the show a few months ago, episode 78, wasn't it? And we're now at episode 99. This is exciting.
It's a big deal.
Because next week we're at 100, and we're going to announce the big winner of our little surprise. we had decided on a trip last year to see you around, the first of the year, around February. And what happened?
Got about 1.5 feet of snow all in one night.
Yes. And we decided this year we're going to come and see you. And what happened?
5 inches. There's 3 to 5 inches.
Snow. But we came a day early.
Yes, thankfully. We got to have a snow day together, which was fun.
That was fun. I don't know how you do it. You have 3 lovely kids. Robert and I had such a blast. I really have an appreciation. I only had one daughter, and you have 2 daughters and a son.
I told you were coming to the circus. I wasn't kidding. Sometimes it feels like that, but they're a blessing and they're fun, but they are a lot of work sometimes.
Oh, goodness, yes. But you stay at home and raise your kids. Before you moved here to Iowa, you worked full-time.
I did.
And you had the 2 little girls.
Yep, the 2. And I was working full-time, 40, sometimes 40-plus hours a week.
When did you ever see them?
After work, weekends.
Well, I can relate. I had 1 little girl and, working 40 and 50 hours a week, and I had my family close by. But did you have your family close by?
No, we were, I think, 5.5 hours away from any family at all. So Now we're a little bit closer, living in Iowa versus southern Missouri. We still don't have family within driving distance for help on a whim.
Yes.
So it has to be planned out a little bit.
So what did you do? You were working. I mean, we as women do this all the time. But set the picture about when the girls were little.
From like morning to night. I mean, we'd get up, we'd wake the girls up early and get them ready. They are actually at 2 separate daycares.
Really?
So that makes it even more interesting. A lot of daycares don't take infants. So there's one daycare in our town that really took infants. And so I would drop the oldest daughter off at her daycare because she was more secure in it, and then I would drive 5 or 6 blocks across town, take the baby, feed the baby. I usually got to feed her, and I'd put her in the swaddle, and she'd kind of fall asleep because she was still little, and I'd put her in her crib and kind of leave her at daycare like that, and then work all day. At night, I have to go pick one up and rush to pick the other one up to make sure you're there before the end of the day and get home in time for dinner and baths and bed. And I usually got off at a pretty good time. Like a lot of our offices would close at 4:30 or 5, a little bit earlier since it was a small town. So that helped quite a bit. I got off a little bit earlier in the evening, but yeah, you still feel rushed going from one to the other. And you want to make sure you talk to the daycare workers and get all the information that you missed out on during the day. And now I'm at home and I know every detail.
You know every detail.
I do.
Well, your husband had gotten another job. That's why he transferred from Southwest Missouri to Iowa. And childcare expenses were so much different.
They were double here what they were in Missouri.
Wow.
So that was a shocker when we moved here.
Well, we were introduced I had a client in Southwest Missouri, and that's how we were introduced. Were you looking for a traditional job, or would you wanted to stay at home? How did this kind of pan out?
At that point, I was looking for traditional jobs. I was putting in resumes. I was sending out emails. We just moved here. So I was really applying for anything and everything. We weren't quite sure what our house payments would be or what utilities would be because we were moving to a new home, and those are kind of all unexpected expenses. And we kind of knew what my husband's salary would be, and we were basing stuff off of that. And I had heard your name through clients that I had worked with down in southern Missouri, and figured I'd give it a shot. And it kind of seemed, I'd heard, virtual assistant stuff before, and I really didn't think that would be what I would pursue at the time. I really had no idea at the time. But after I talked to you, it was very intriguing, and it's just something I couldn't get out of my mind. Definitely. The flexibility, I think, was the biggest part. With our schedules the way they were, my husband's schedule is very unflexible because you can't reschedule a whole team's practice or a game or being on the road. None of that can be rescheduled because you have a sick kid. So it really fell on me to have a more flexible schedule.
Yes, your husband is a coach, a basketball coach.
Yep, a college basketball coach.
Yeah, and he has to be there.
Yeah.
He has long hours.
Yes.
During the season, you become a single mom almost.
Yep.
During our last show, we talked about different flexibilities and things like that. You started your website, Olivia May Furnishings, quite some time ago.
Yeah, I want to say it's 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. I should know the exact date.
Well, you started it to be passive income.
Yes.
What do you do on that website?
So I have artwork, printables, invitations, apparel, things. I've set it up so it's all passive income. I knew that I would be at home with my kids and I wouldn't have time to print stuff and mail out orders or do a lot of behind the scenes stuff after purchase. Mm-hmm. So it's all set up to where I do the work on the front end. I make the designs. All my printables, people get an email instantly and they have the artwork at their fingertips. They can print it at their local Walgreens. If they have a good enough printer, they can print it at home. For all of my apparel, I have a merchandiser or a wholesaler who does all my drop shipping. Mm-hmm. So I pay a little bit more per product because of that. But for now, that's an expense I'm willing to take because I can't print a shirt myself, ship, do all the mm-hmm. packaging and mailing. And so I really set it up to be passive income so I could spend my time with my kids, design the stuff at night, get it all set up.
Because that's fun for you.
It is. That's the fun stuff.
And you can build your audience a little at a time.
Yeah. There was no pressure to have this giant shop with all these options. It was, I have the time tonight to make this print or this sweatshirt or this item. I'm going to get it listed. I'm going to get it on social. I'm going to get it on Pinterest and just get it where I need it. And then it kind of lets it do its own work, mm-hmm. kind of.
And the more that you get into your inventory, the more that you have, that's your content is your designs in your shop. Mm-hmm. And the more you have, the more you can recycle it and be seasonal and everything. It's a cute shop. It's Olivia May Furnishings. I love it. But I'm also intrigued and excited because you just started your own personal brand.
I did.
Why?
I have seen several people do it and kind of take the leap. They had a shop name or they've converted it. I saw you do it we had our virtual assistant business. Well, now mm-hmm. you're offering other things. So now you have your own website and it's kind of always in the back of my mind. The main reason I did it. Well, one thing that held me back, I should start with, was my last name. And that sounds so silly, I feel like. But Van Riessen, like people won't be able to say it. They'll spell it wrong. Like I want them to be able to get to my website. But then also if it's a made up name, kind of like my print shop, that's also hard to remember too. Whereas if they just remember me as a person, they know my website and they can kind of identify me with the website. So I had a lot of requests for my graphic design work that was professional work. So I had someone specifically contact me about my professional portfolio. And I felt really odd sending them to a shop that has cutesy prints and sweatshirts. And while it does show some of my design capabilities, it didn't show the professional side. Mm-hmm. So for me, it felt a little odd to send them to my shop page and really gave me the push to start the website, get it up as more of a portfolio, as my professional website where I can send people who want just the graphic design stuff for their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always been really pleased with your graphic design stuff that you do with Scrivener Solutions. And for me personally, because you run Scrivener Solutions Instagram and Pinterest, and I like to get into Instagram just to scroll the pictures and like things.
Yeah.
And then I love that you make up the graphics and that you can post and schedule and urge me to get out there, get my face out there more. But it takes the pressure off of me.
Yeah, you just get to have fun with it.
Yes. Gala Scrivener. Well, first of all, Gala. Not very many galas, although I have met other galas.
Couple.
And Scrivener is hard to spell.
Yeah.
But it's also unique. Mm-hmm. We're the only one. And we're not a John Smith that is a common name. But, you could, because of the way that your name is spelled, you could secure the EI version and just forward it. Some people do that when their name is commonly misspelled and they just secure the domain and then just forward it to the real one.
And I've thought about buying the domain. I mean, I probably thought about it a year ago and I was like, I should just buy it. Even if I don't do anything with it, I'll buy it and then I'll think on it. Mm-hmm. Then I ended up buying it and creating the website within like a week, I think.
Yeah. I was held back for me on doing a personal brand because all my life I was identified on who I was working for.
Yeah.
And then stepping out from behind the scenes or, behind a brand name, then it was just weird for me. But it is the best thing for us to do because as we transition, our business can transition because maybe our interest changes and we can expand or or niche into something else? Because right now on your personal brand website, you focus on graphic design, branding, and Instagram management. I love that, because the thing that I made a mistake on was just way too much. Let's just offer way too much. Whatever client I can get, that's what I want to get.
For sure.
And I admire you that you are in a position that you can grow your business as your kids grow, and you will be able to grow your following. And I kidded you. Well, I kid in all seriousness that there's going to be a day that comes that you're going to say, okay, I'm giving notice, Kayla, because I am so busy in my businesses and I can't be a virtual assistant for Scrivener Solutions anymore, which is going to be a cool thing.
It'll be so a sad day, but exciting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad you have that confidence. I'll feed off of that for now.
You have such the potential of growing your business however you want to.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool because we can collaborate and we can do whatever, because it's cool to have an atmosphere of working together.
Definitely.
I think it's really cool.
I know with like my shop page, Olivia May Furnishings, it always seemed very like, I do prints, I do apparel, like the things I do is just what I did. And with the name Furnishings in the title, you can only go so far. And I even thought of, once I have my personal brand website, like I can start with the things that I offer, these 3 main areas. And at any point, I find something that's either not working or something that is working, and I can either pivot away or pivot towards it. So it's almost like I have freedom in that. Yeah. I'm not stuck doing just one thing. Yes. I can offer these 3 things for now. And if one thing doesn't seem to work, it can drop off. If the other 2 are doing really well and I have a lot of clients that are really interested in that, then I can kind of dive my time into that and just, like I said, pivot a little bit. And I kind of feel like I have the freedom to do that now with my personal brand website. Whereas before I did not feel that freedom. I felt like I was really stuck in, this is your shop, these are the things you offer, and that's it.
I like that. And I like that about a month ago, I had an interview with our client, Jen Philla. And she and I are very similar, that we waited to leave the day job. We both were very similar, that we both had one daughter that we raised. And we felt once she went to off to college, we felt we could make more risks. So we jumped in, what she said, right in the middle of the pool and left our day job. Probably not something that we'd suggest. And so I envy you that you are able to, I think all family situations, we have budgeting that we need to do. And sometimes it's stressful because something breaks down, or you had a leak in your house and it's stressful, you know, and
all sorts of car issues.
And how are we going to pay for that? That's just what happens, whether we have a day job or not. How are we going to budget for this? And I really do envy you that you are able to. We live in a time that you can, even though you may not have as many hours that you may want, but my goodness, your children take up many hours.
They do.
And that you have the stamina to stay up after they go to bed and work, and then get up in the morning when they get up. I really envy you that you can have that outlet and be able to build your business. And as they grow, you may be able to devote more time and have more control.
Yeah.
And that's something that Jen had mentioned, that the biggest thing that she likes is the control of her time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you have not sought a day job, to my knowledge. I don't know. So you have a day job. I have seen it firsthand on this snow day. What is the biggest draw of remote work and building your own?
Definitely flexibility, I would have to say. Not having to get the whole family up earlier and get everyone ready and rush out the door and then do the same, work hard all day and come back and do the same thing. I can take a day off or switch my schedule around based on if somebody's sick or if something changes, and just feeling like you can really take control of your life. And this is what I need. My family needs me to slow down today. If you have a typical 9 to 5, it's almost like that doesn't matter. And that's not to say that there's not good employers that are going to understand. But at the end of the day, you're paid to do a specific job, and you're paid to do it between 9 and 5. And with a family and with little kids, I think any parent knows that's just not, kids don't just get sick after 9 to 5 or need a parent after that or a dentist appointment or whatever it might be. And just having that flexibility in my schedule has been huge. And I think I was in the fortunate position, like you said, to kind of slowly grow into it. I had you and even Jen as the kind of mentors in the beginning, and just watching what you guys did is probably why I jumped in, because I'm like, okay, they're doing this and this is how I can do it. And I think I've been really lucky. I've avoided a lot of mistakes. And I know there's times where I've told you, oh, well, this is what they said and I'm going to try this. And you're like, I'm not sure that's the best option, or let me tell you about a time I tried that. And that's really helped me avoid taking all that time and trying all these routes that wouldn't work out as well. And so I think being able to slowly work into it and having that flexibility to work a few hours a week at first and then build up with you and then start my own thing. I didn't really have pressure at first. We had that income from my husband to rely on and budget off of, and I was just able to build slowly, and I really see the benefit of it now. And I joke with my husband, I have a 3-year goal when my littlest is in kindergarten, that I can work enough hours and make enough income that I don't ever have to look for that typical 9 to 5 to meet a certain income level, that I can make enough working less hours even and just have life back, have those hours back, and get to go on field trips or stop by the elementary school to have lunch with my kids. Just having the flexibility to choose how I want to live life, I think is huge for me.
Being in middle management for so many years, I felt terrible. I was, for many of those years, I was a single mom, and I'd go to work no matter what. And then I have this mindset, because of the rules of the organization that I was working for, we as mothers, this is terrible to say, but we're left to feel guilty that, okay, my kid's sick and I need to stay home.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Well, as middle management, I had to fulfill, or I had to follow the rules. So you write somebody up because they missed work. And it's like, I felt terrible all the time. Or you have your VP above you saying, well, you've got to write this person up because of this, that, or the other. And I don't know, you weren't supposed to say anything about your family life. And it just didn't feel right. I just grew, even though I was in the industry for a long time. But in middle management, it's so difficult because you have to fulfill all the stupid rules sometimes. But the organization can't function without certain rules. And growing Scrivener Solutions, we have to have certain rules, but yet have flexibility, and we have deadlines and projects, and there's just got to be a happy medium somehow. I really think that being able to have control over our time, even though it's hard. I mean, it's not going to be easy to build your own business. And I think sometimes we as entrepreneurs think, oh, it's got to happen overnight. And I know my transition of, I just went in with both feet. It gets stressful because if you have had a paycheck every 2 weeks since you were 19, and then you don't anymore, and you're responsible for finding your own clients, and being an entrepreneur, your income's up and down.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It gets a little stressful. How can you even that out and find different revenue streams so that you can have more consistent pay? Well, I think that a lot of folks that leave an organization to build their own business, they have this weird expectation that immediate payment's going to come. And you get your first client and you're thinking, I don't have to market anymore.
Yeah.
If you're able to find an organization where you can remote work and are supportive of doing your own thing, then you can grow something and not feel that pressure, I think. And it doesn't always happen. And I think in hindsight, if I would have started my own thing before I quit my day job, I think things would have been easier.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what I was doing. And I had no idea where to start. Except, holy cow, I don't have a paycheck anymore. I better start.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just got to put your feet to the fire and feel that pressure. And that really helps you get after it and put everything into it.
I don't know. We're hearing our husbands talk in the background. And Robert may or may not edit this out. We should put the microphones up.
Yeah, they can be on the podcast next time.
Well, I like that we can just do the podcast in person.
Yes.
Because
how fun.
Don't see each other in person very often. It's a Zoom call or just the regular phone call. What is your typical workday?
For my kids or for work?
Both.
Because it's a different kind of work.
Yes.
It depends. 3 to 4 days a week I get up at 6 a.m. So I'm up before the kids, get in a workout. So I can get home by the time that they wake up, get the biggest one ready for school, sometimes the middle one if she's got preschool, and then take care of the kids all day, basically snacks, naps, naps, and then snacks again before dinner. It just seems like they're always eating, but they're all really little still, so they just have needs all day long, it seems. So while it's not as demanding, maybe as much physically, it's very mentally and sometimes emotionally more demanding. They go to bed, and that's when I grab my laptop and try and take 10 to 15 minutes to kind of decompress and change from mom mode to work mode, and start at 8 or 8:30. And depending on deadlines, I try to get to bed at a decent hour. If it's a website, those you have to stay up until it's working for the next day. But yeah, I try to plan so that I'm not pulling all-nighters often. I try to balance it out through the week. And I think that's the nice thing with the flexibility is I can kind of look at the deadlines I have for that week and balance it out between evenings. I know I've got 4 nights this week to work. So how many hours do I need each night so I'm not killing myself to get all these done? Going to bed and doing it all over again.
Yeah, you're I feel like really lazy compared to
I keep saying I'm hustling now, because if I put in the late hours and I put in the work now, once my kids are in school, I'll transition more to working daytime hours and not working nighttime hours. And then, I feel like then I'll be like sitting on the couch at night, like, well, what do I do with my time? Like once the kids are in bed and if I don't have to work at night, you're kind of like, now this feels weird.
Well, you do have a husband that you could spend time with.
Yes, when he's home.
After basketball season.
Right.
And that is very important. And as they get older, they might not go to bed so early.
I know. So those daytime hours as they get older and stay up later will be definitely beneficial.
What is your favorite tool that we use?
Probably Photoshop, because my favorite thing to do is design work, and I like to be creative. I know we use Canva a lot, and I do like that to an extent. I think it's great for things like some web graphics or social media, things you need to you don't necessarily, you can mass produce easier. Whereas Photoshop, you can really make those personalized designs that are more detailed and just add that element of design to it. Yeah, definitely my favorite to play around in, to see what I can come up with, and what I use probably the most for my business.
There's some pretty cool tools. You've surpassed me in Photoshop. Definitely. You are trying out a new program. I've heard about it, but it's for your design, and it's got a client billing system. Have you tried that yet?
The Dipsado?
Yes.
I have it set up, and with my new website, I have like my client, my contact form on my website is actually connected to it. So it's kind of like a customer relationship management program. So they fill out my contact form, and it actually goes into that program, and it kind of puts them in as like a lead. And then I can set up automation from there. So I do not have any clients on it quite yet. I just have it set up. I have a big potential contract in the works that they will kind of be my first guinea pig. If I get them, I will do the contract work and everything through there. So I don't really know the ins and outs yet, but I plan to learn it. And hopefully with this new client, if they sign a contract with me. So
yeah, I'm excited for you. And we had talked about a few things. My mistakes is like, oh, here are the mistakes that I made, and please don't do that.
Which is, yeah, I feel like I'm in such a fortunate position to have the lessons from you and kind of like the mentorship and coaching from you. I'm like, man, at what point is she going to start charging me for these coaching calls? Because she's giving me all this advice that I should pay hundreds of dollars for. And then Jen also working remotely and just learning from people. And I'm thankful that I'm able to take it all in and apply it. And a lot of people aren't in that position where they get all that free advice.
Well, and it's not so much free because you earn it. You work very, very hard. That's why I shifted to do more coaching, because I ended up talking with clients and being that sounding board. What's the saying? If you're in the bottle, it's hard to read the label.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I'm so excited to shift from Scrivener Solutions into a coaching role. It's really a cool feeling to empower other people.
Definitely. I love, I've helped a few people with websites, and, you do the work, you make it pretty, make it look good for them. But I think I really do enjoy, okay, let me take a video of what I did. If you need to do this update, this is how you can do it. This is how you should do a social post, or this is how you post on your website. And this is the formatting and the SEO that you need to double check each time, and explaining it to them almost in simple terms, because there's so many times you do watch that webinar or you take a class and it's almost talking over your head. They're talking SEO and they're not even explaining what any of the acronyms mean.
Right.
And at first it is really intimidating, but being able to kind of meet them where they are and saying, I've got you, I'll make it, but I'm also going to show you how to do it, because you're capable of handling this yourself and not having to pay someone else. Now, you may choose to because of time and efficiency, but you'll still have the tools to know how to manage your own business, your own website, if you need to.
I think if you know the gist, you don't have to do the steps yourself, but you can manage the overall process and the strategy. And why do you want to add Instagram? Maybe you don't want to be there. Maybe it's not for you. But I also think being strategic and doing one thing at a time, and being very consistent, and then layer on top. And I think we're under the pressure. I mean, do you ever feel the pressure? It's like you see all these other people and they're
doing it all.
And you're like, crap, I feel so underqualified or underwhelmed.
Understaffed. It's like it's just me here, and I'm working nighttime hours when my kids are in bed. Like, I don't have time to post on 6 social media platforms or, post. I heard someone say something about they post on Instagram like 3 times a day and 4 blog posts a week. And I'm just like, I'm stressed out just thinking about that. Like, I can't, as one person, do my job and create that much content right now. That doesn't mean I can't start one thing and become very consistent with it and very good at that one thing, and then slowly add something else. And I think that's where maybe my time constraint of not having all the time, it's like, okay, these are your options. You can't do them all, so pick where you're starting.
Right.
And I didn't really have an option to do it all. Not that I wanted to. There's certain things that I'm like, just not sure that fits with my business right now. And maybe it will at some point as I grow. It might make more sense. But for now, I think I was kind of forced into, okay, this is the time you have. Invest it here or...
Well, and I don't think we should feel bad on where we should spend our time. I think we should concentrate on something and then grow from there.
Yeah.
And building a personal brand and building our business, there's foundation points. A website's important, consistent content, the blueprint of having email, and then social, the social piece. The content, I believe, needs to either be a blog post, a podcast, or video, one of those 3. And then your social posts kind of stem from there. But it's still, all of that seems so overwhelming, and you don't have to start with all of that at once.
Yeah.
Folks can follow your newsletter on Olivia May Furnishings, right? That's where you can get nice little freebies and downloads. Now, are you doing anything yet on the other? That's your portfolio for right now.
Yes. For right now, it's just the portfolio. It's just the set website, and that's where I send people who are inquiring about graphic design work. I send them there. I don't have anything set yet.
No, it's way soon.
Yeah, I really just launched it, and I'm trying to figure out social, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to change over. Like you said, I got to figure out where I'm going to put my time, and I don't have the answers yet, but I think that's the fun part of having that personal brand is like I get to pick what I do. I get to pick where I try, what I start, and like I said, if it doesn't work, I'll pivot and we'll change it and we'll start something else.
Well, I like that you took the leap. You just said, well, I have this pressure of this bigger client. I want to send them to a nice professional portfolio, and I want it to be brandyvanriessen.com, and that's how they know me, and you made that portfolio. So that serves a great purpose. And whenever you want to start whatever, if you start your own podcast or do video series, which, by the way, I have had such an education at your house. I had no idea there was YouTube videos for coloring.
Or kids opening toys.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And there is a channel for everything.
But it's funny because I felt like we're watching it and you're like, okay, this is, we look at it from a marketing perspective.
Yes, we do.
This is where they put their end screens. This is where they put their logo. This is where they put their subscribe button. But we're watching these like kid videos with them.
And I couldn't concentrate because I was watching this girl color a color page and with pink hair.
1.4 million views.
I know. And I'm looking at your kids and they're intrigued by this. And I'm looking at the coloring. It's like, I'm intrigued by this.
There is something for everyone. There is a job for everyone. That's for sure.
And I am amazed every day working and being in the entrepreneurial world that there is so many ways that people can earn a living. And I'm just being creative. It's amazing. I'm so grateful that you let us stay at your house for a couple of days and love on your kids. I was a little afraid that the kids might be a little scared of Robert's beard.
They think it's fun.
And he gives them a hard time. He's having a good time.
And they dish it right back a lot of the time. I don't know if Robert knows how to quite take some of their stuff, but he's done. You guys are good sports, and you put up with a lot of noise. You get in the car, and you're like, man, it's really quiet in here.
I know. We haven't had a little one. We have a niece, but we don't see her very often. And
you get hit with 3 at once here. That's why I said you're coming to the circus.
Well, I was texting you on the way back. Are you sure you want 2 hillbillies to come? And we still have it. We've got to ask your daughter of a punchline when you cross a circus with a hillbilly.
Maybe our listeners will have a good idea for us. What do you get when you cross 2 hillbillies with a circus?
Yes.
Or join 2 hillbillies, join the circus.
Yes, we need some sort of good punchline. So if you have any ideas, just email me at podcast@galascrivener.com because that will be funny. And Brandy will post it on social.
Maybe we'll turn it into some merchandise.
There we go. Which, I don't know, should I put... If you're a remote worker, one of the things is our families distract us. And one day I made Robert a little angry. Just a little bit. Because he's trying to talk to me and I'm trying to concentrate. And he just keeps talking, and so I ignore him. And I finally looked at him and I said, honey, I am not ignoring you. I am just working. And his feelings were just so hurt that day. I mean, this has been a couple of years ago. And so he pouted for a little while. And then it started to become a joke. And then I made all of us t-shirts. Because
I have mine on right now.
Do you?
It's such a good tagline.
So I love it. So maybe I should just have you put that.
Oh, we should
on the website. And it doesn't have to have Scrivener Solutions on the front, but maybe you can hashtag it. I'll let you design something.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, make it happen.
I will.
Put it in Asana.
I'm on it. That's the fun part. Now you get to delegate and be the boss and coach, and I get to do all the fun design work.
Oh, I know. I love that. I do kind of miss it.
Steal all the fun stuff.
I know. And it's like, I know I should delegate this, but I really like doing this, but I got to do this other stuff. But when you transition, because I really like doing the design stuff and getting into Canva and Photoshop, and because it is fun. It is fun. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when you get to a certain level of your business, you get to delegate the fun.
You got to make that money.
I know.
You're in a different level now. You're in a different category than the rest of us.
But I do have fun talking with folks. I really love getting these texts or these private messages that say, Kayla, I did this. Mm-hmm. And I love hearing from you on your wins that you have. And
well, I think that's the one thing I love about being able to come to you is I get this idea. And, I think on it for a while before you say it out loud. And I think there's a few times I was like, I'm going to send this message to Kayla about getting my own domain and starting a website. And then I wouldn't do it. And then finally I did it. And it's like, I always feel like you're very approachable. It's really easy to shoot ideas. And I also know that you're going to give practical advice. You're going to tell me if it's not a great decision, if there's a better route to take, or, hey, I tried this. It didn't go well, but this is how you could try it and it might be better for you. So I feel like you're approachable. It's just, like I said, it's easy to come to you with ideas, knowing that if my idea isn't great, you can give me an idea of how it can be. Mm-hmm. And I've really benefited from that.
Well, I appreciate that because I know that it's scary too to talk to your boss to say, well, I'm thinking about this. Yeah. Because what are you going to think? Because I don't know about you. I've been trained, it's like they're going to think that I'm betraying them.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, a lot of it was you do design work, you do websites, and it's like, okay, well, I don't want to feel like I'm stepping in on your business. And I think that was what was weird. It's like, okay, you've trained me to do this, this, and this. And now I want to go do part of it on my own. Yeah. Is that fair? I kind of felt like, okay, am I taking clients? I'm not taking clients from you because we're kind of in different geographical locations, but it did feel weird at first because it's like, I'm taking all the skills you gave me, then I'm going to use them in a different way to make money for myself.
Well, and you think about it this way, though. If you're working for Scrivener Solutions and you get a certain pay, but you're not marketing. And so that's different. When you're an independent contractor and you're, when you own your own business, you have to pay for the marketing. You have to put in that work.
Yeah.
And you get your own clients and the pay is different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just part of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
But we hear our husbands in there.
I know. I just tried texting them again. They're having way too much fun in there.
Well, we're working from anywhere. We're working right here.
My kitchen table.
The kitchen table. And, I think that, we can wrap it up.
We could talk forever. That's the scary part.
I know. And then people was like, what are these two girls talking about? But I'm excited because we're going to have a win as a company with our 100th episode next week. Which is super exciting.
So exciting. You've worked so hard to get to 100.
And I love that I have transitioned out. I don't do every single piece of the podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm focusing on the content itself. Robert does the assembling of the stuff. And then you do the artwork and put it on the blog and up into Libsyn. And you do Pinterest and Instagram, and then Sharon does Facebook, LinkedIn. But we're going to see what our husbands are talking about. And we'll wrap this up. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. I hope you enjoyed today's casual conversation when we had our husbands mumbling in the background. I have such an appreciation of what Brandy does on a daily basis, raising those kids. I only had one daughter, and I can't imagine life, how it would be if I had 2 or even 3. And I love that Brandy is looking long-term and is doing the work now of laying the foundation of her personal brand so that when she's ready and she can devote more time to it, she'll be ready to grow it even more, however she'd like. She's taking the time and doing the little things, a little bit at a time. The little things are what matters. Now, be sure to check out the show notes for all the links to Brandy's websites. In thinking about things, I'm in a different season of my life, and the reasons why I left the corporate world to start and grow my business are different than Brandy's reasons why she wants to start her business. But there are a lot of similarities as well in our reasons. But I look back on when I was raising my daughter, and the times are so different now. The opportunities are so different. And we live in such a wonderful time. And no matter what season of life you're in, I believe we can learn a lot from Brandy. If we really want to achieve something, you will find the time to work your way toward it. You will make the time. Enjoy what you love and learn along the way. And keep your priorities in check. You'll achieve what you set out to do. Brandy had already transitioned from working a traditional day job to working remotely for Scrivener Solutions. And with her busy schedule with those kids and working her remote job, I find it very inspiring that she still finds the time to set up systems and laying the foundation to really grow her own personal brand. She's not waiting until that magical someday when I have time stage in her life to start. Because I don't think that there's ever a time in anybody's life that there's going to be a someday when I have time. Because we're always busy. Our schedules are packed full. But she is making the time now in her already busy schedule to grow what she wants in her future life. Just grow it a little bit at a time. And that is a wonderful lesson for all of us. No matter what season of life we're in, you will make the time to learn and do what you really enjoy. Do it a little bit at a time, have incremental growth, and quietly lay the foundation, the groundwork to take the leap into your next move. Well, thanks for being here today. And if you found this episode helpful, I would be honored if you'd subscribe in iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Until next time, have a fantastic week.